Hi, my name is Irina Natsaruddin. My metric number is 20 DSK19F1006. My class is DSK3A K1. I'm from Jabatan Perdagangan.
Assalamualaikum and hi to Children Equal. My name is Nurhani Zahma Muhammad Shafiq. My metric number is 20 DSK 19F1016.
Hi, my name is Olivia Pamela James. My metric number is 20 DSK19F1025. I'm from DSK3AK1.
October 1, 2020. Bought 500 kilo of wheat flour and 350 kilo of sugar worth 2,000 ringgit from DIY supply on credit. This transaction is on October 1, 2020, and the source document is purchase invoice. It is because a document or bill presented to a buyer by a seller for payment within stated time frame that indicates what has been purchased to prove that something was bought and how much was paid for it. The book of original entry is purchase journal because the purchase journal is to record good purchase on credit. October 2, 2020, sold 63 of cake at 240 ringgit cash. The transaction is October 2, 2020. The source document of the transaction is cash bill. Why it is cash bill? Cash bill used to record transaction that receive immediate payment of cash for the purchase of good. The book of original entry is cash book because cash book only record any of the transaction that involving cash or bank. October 3, 2020, sold 10 loaf of bread to Somerset Hotel on credit for 160 ringgit. This transaction is on October 3, 2020. The source document is sales order because a sales order is created by supplier to confirm that they can supply the goods and service requested for purchase by the buying party. The book of original entry is sales journal. Sales journal is to use to record credit sale. October 3, 2020, Somerset Hotel returned 4 loaf of bread worth 16 ringgit. The transaction is on October 3, 2020. The source document is a debit note. A debit note is a document created by a buyer when returning goods received on credit. The book of original entry is purchase return. Why it is purchase return? Because the purchase return is to record all the transaction involving goods returned to supplier. October 4, 2020, a 20 kilo bag of corn flour worth 24 ringgit, which was delivery in error as wheat flour, was returned to DIY supply. The source of document is a credit note. The credit note is a document sent by the seller to the buyer as a notification to acknowledge that the good returned by buyer purchased by credit has been recorded as return inward, and a credit has been provided to them.
5 October 2020. Pet shop rental for 500 by check. The transaction is 2020 October 5. The source documents is check. This is because Emma pet shop rental by using check. The book of journal entry is cash book. This is because any transaction they use cash or bank are recorded on the cash book. In this case, Emma used check to pay the shop rental. 7 October 2020. Owner withdraw 1,900 cash and 800 worth of goods for own use. The transaction is 7 October 2020. The source document is memo. This is because memo is the internal documents that have been record transactions that took place between the owner and the business or staff. In here, Emma withdraw 1,900 of cash and 800 for her own use. So in here, the transaction between the owner and the business. The book of journal entry is general journal. This is because Emma did not purchase any goods or sell any goods. 8 October 2020. Bought butter worth 2,500 on credit from Irina. The transaction is 2020 October 8. The source documents is purchase order. This is because Emma bought butter or Emma purchased butter from Irina. The book of journal entry is purchase journal. This is because any purchase of goods will record on this special journal, which is purchase journal. 10 October 2020. Credit sales of 3,500 to Amirul. The transaction is 2020 October 10. The source documents is sales order. This is because the credit sales to Amirul. The book of journal entry is sales journal. Any transactions or any sales of goods will record on the special journal, which is sales journal. October 11, 2020. Amirul returned bread worth 100 which are expired. The transaction is 2020 October 11. The source documents is debit note. Debit note is a document that created by a buyer when returning the purchase received on credit. So back on October 10, credit sales of 3,500 to Amirul. So in here, Amirul purchased the bread on credit. That is why we are using debit note as the source documents. So the book of journal entry is sales return journal. Any purchasing of goods from the buyer that is returning back, we must record on the sales return journal.
Hi, my name is Olivia Pamelana James. My matric number is 20 DSK19F1025. I'm from DSK3AK1. Transaction October 15, 2020. The source document for paid utilities is a purchase journal invoice. If we get the bills, there must be in the bills how much to pay, while the book of original entry is a cash book because it is invoice which cash. Transaction October 19, 2020. The source document for receive a check from Somerset Hotel is a check. Somerset Hotel has received a check for full settlement of amount owed. Book of original entry is a purchase journal. A purchase journal is a record of all accurate situation made on credit period. In other words, accounts payable as well as the current balance owed to each vendor. Transaction October 25, 2020. The source document is a check. Irina paid for it after getting a discount of 2%. For the book, original entry is the general journal. General journal is the first place where data is recorded, and every page in the item features dividing columns for date, serial number, as well as debit or credit records. Transaction October 28, 2020. The document is a check. This is because paying a salary shall be used a check. Book of original entry is the general journal. Once a transaction is recorded in a general journal, the amounts are then posted to the appropriate accounts, such as accounts receivable, equipment, and cash transaction. Transaction October 30, 2020. The soft document is a check. This is because it's invoice bank. Book of original entry is the general journal. Each general journal entry is recorded with the date and a short description of the transaction.